Hello, my friends, and welcome to another reading video. All right, new week means new letter sounds. We are still going to talk about our controlled vowels, but this week we're going to work on the vowels that make the sound. So let's try this first one. Bird. Good, you hear that bird. How about some of these other ones? Earn. Bird again. And ers. So when we hear that sound, we automatically, our ears are telling us it's a UR. But it could also be IR and ER. So we're going to practice all of those different sounds this week. Say some of these words with me. Hurt. All together, hurt. Good. Next one. Curl. Curl. All together, curl. Next, nurse. All together, nurse. Remember that E at the end? We don't hear it. Next one, purple. Purple. All together, purple. Nice. So those are some of the UR sounds that make the sound. Now let's try the IRs. You ready? Bird. Good. Bird. Next one. Girl. All together now. Girl. Last one. Dirt. All together. Dirt. Sorry, it's so shiny. We can't see all the letters at once. There we go. Okay, friends? So we're going to keep working on that sound, all the R controlled vowels. And they give us that UR sound all week long. But we need to keep moving forward. And a new week also means new sight words. Say them with me. Near, every, earth, school. You all live near Agnes Risley, which is pretty cool. Next one, every. I love to see your faces every day in our meetings. Really, it makes my day, and I love seeing you. Next one, Earth. The moon orbits around Earth. Oh my gosh, we know so much about the moon now, it's crazy. Earth. Last one, school. I am going to miss you when school is out for summer vacation. I will miss you a lot, but I hope you get some rest. All right, let's say it rapid fire. Ready? Near, every, earth, school. Good job, my friends. Okay, let's switch over to our other camera. We'll talk about today's work. All right, here is what we need for today. We're going to talk about this week's reading log. Of course, we're going to work on some sight words. We're going to do some work in our ELA work number 4 book. And we're going to do some writing in our journal today. So I would like you to hit pause, go grab these 4 things plus your pencil, and come on back when you're ready. All right, if you're back with me, that tells me you have all the things. First things first. I have a big pile here. Okay, this week's reading log, we are going to open up to the reading log that says My Retelling Reading Log. Yep, we're continuing to work on retelling stories. I know you're probably going crazy by now, but it is so important that we practice. Because if you cannot tell me what you read about, then that tells me your super smart brain was not able to take in all of the important information. And that's so important as we go into 2nd grade and 3rd grade and so on, that we remember the important stuff, the important ideas, the important things from what we read. So the more we practice it, the easier it gets. So this week you're going to read your book, write the title, and then you're going to write 3 facts or details from the story. So I'm not worried about it being in order this week, so we get a little break from that. But this week I just want 3 details or 3 important pieces of information from your story. Tell me what was going on, what happened. Tell me about the good guy or the bad guy. Tell me about maybe where the story is taking place, the setting. Tell me about some of the characters. Just 3 details or important pieces of information that you want me to know about what you read. Okay, if you have questions, let me know. If not, we're going to move right along to our sight words book. We're going to go ahead and open up our sight words book all the way to the word went. And we'll give everybody a little time to get their books open. Okay, if you need a little more time, just hit pause and come back when you are ready. Let's say the word together. Are you ready? Went. Good. Let's read the sentence together. I went to the zoo. We're going to write it. Find it. Write it again. And draw it. Work on went and come on back. Hit pause. Work on went. Then come back when you're ready. Whew, my words. Okay, if you're back with me, that tells me you're all done with went. Let's turn the page. The next word we're going to work on today is men. Everybody say it with me. Men. Good. Let's read the sentence. The two men play golf. We're going to write it. Make sure we're using this time to practice our super neat handwriting. We're going to go through and find it. Write it again. And draw it. Hit pause. Work on men. Come on back when you're ready. Okay, if you're back with me, that tells me you're all done with men. Let's move right along. Now we're going to work on our ELA work number 4 book. We're going to open up all the way to page 23. Okay, before we begin though, of course, first we have to stop and put our name at the top. I'm going to put my name. You put your name. And of course, we know today's date because we've all watched Number Corner is 5-3-21. All right, so today we're going to work on sorting out our words with that sound and our high frequency words or our sight words. So say these words with me. Make sure you say them out loud because the only way we get to be better readers is if we practice saying the words together. Ready? Bird, clerk, earth, every, first, hurt, nurse, serve, shirt, and turn. Good. So I know we haven't done one of these pages in a little while, but what we're going to do is we're going to use it to help us break down the words. So we're going to find the spelling words that are spelled with IR, that make the sound, but with IR. So any of the words that have IR in them, we're going to fill out in 1, 2, and 3. Then for 4, 5, and 6, we're going to write out the spelling words with the UR sound. So any of the words that have UR in them. Then for 7, 8, and 9, we're going to find the spelling words with the ER in them. And then finally for number 10, there's one word that has the EAR combination, and that's what we're going to write in number 10. So go ahead and hit pause, fill in all of the blanks with the words from our word bank, and come on back when you're ready. All right. If you're back with me, that tells me you're all done with page 23. When we are done with our reading video today, you're going to send me a picture of page 23 in Seesaw. Okay, last thing we're working on today, we're going to do some journal writing. We have a story to listen to called The Wind and the Sun. And we are going to write down 3 important details from the story. So go ahead and open up your writing journal to your next blank page. We're going to pretend like mine's my blank, right? This is blank. I don't have anything written there. I don't know what y'all are talking about. But find your next blank page. And when you get there, make sure you put your name and the date at the top. Okay, so the title of the story, one more time, is The Wind and the Sun. As you listen to me read the story, you're going to think about 3 important details from that story, and you're going to write them down here. Now, I want us all to be careful, and I want you to give me your listening ears. You're not just going to say, there was a sun. Nope, I want details. I want complete sentences. You might say, the wind and the sun were friends. I don't know, they might be. We'll see after we read the story. But I want complete details, and I want complete sentences with important details. Woo, my words are not coming out right, but that's okay. So complete sentences meaning capital letter at the beginning, punctuation at the end, and some details in the middle so that I can really picture what part of the story you're telling me was important. Okay? There's no right or wrong answer. It's what you think is important. This is just sentence writing practice, and it's also practice picking out details from the story. So here's what I recommend. Have this information written in your journal. So if you need to hit pause to do that, hit pause right now and write this down. When you come back, then I want you to have your journal in front of you while you listen to the story. So as I'm reading, if I read something where you're like, oh, that sounds important, or that sounds like something I want to remember, you can hit pause on the video and write down your sentence right then and there before I finish reading. That way your brain doesn't forget what you were thinking. So have your journal in front of you while we're reading the story, have your pencil ready to rock and roll, and then don't be afraid to hit pause and write down information as I read. That way, when I'm done reading, you're all done writing. It's kind of magical that way. All right, friends, let's switch over to the story. The Wind and the Sun. So the Wind and the Sun is a fable, which means it's a story that talks about right and wrong, and there's a lesson to be learned. So that's something to keep in your mind also, is who's in the right, who's in the wrong, what is the lesson, what are we trying to learn from the story? Okay? So the wind and the sun. One day, the wind and the sun were arguing about who was the strongest. Look at me, boasted the wind. I can blow clouds across the sky. I can toss cars and houses high. I can blow windmills round and round. I can blow trees out of the ground. That's nothing, replied the sun. My heat is the strongest by far. My heat can melt ice. My heat can melt tar. Tar is what we put on our roads. My heat can dry rivers. My heat can dry land. Watch me melt the ice cream in these children's hands. Back and forth argued wind and sun. Then they noticed a traveler walking down the road. I have an idea, said Wind. Whichever of us can make the traveler take off his cloak shall be recognized as the strongest. I will go first. The cloak is his coat, just so you understand. Cloak is not something we always say, but just think about it as his coat. Sun agreed and hid behind a cloud to watch. Wind began to blow little gusts. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The traveler wrapped his cloak tightly around himself. Harder and harder the wind blew. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The traveler wrapped his cloak more tightly across himself. The wind blew harder still. Though harder the wind blew, the more tightly the traveler wrapped his cloak around himself. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Finally, the wind gave up in despair, meaning it just gave up. It was sad. The sun came out from behind the cloud. First, it began to shine lightly on the traveler. The traveler turned his face to the sun. Then he smiled as he enjoyed the warmth. The sun shone more strongly. The traveler mopped his brow. It means he wiped his forehead. Stronger and stronger and stronger the sun shone. The traveler opened his cloak. Still the sun shone stronger and stronger. The traveler grew hotter and hotter and hotter. After a few more steps, the traveler loosened his cloak. Then he tore off his cloak and dropped it on the road. "You win," said Wind. "I am sorry I was so boastful." "Remember, Wind," said Sun, "strength can be used in different ways on different days." "I understand now, Sun," said Wind. "The better course is to use persuasion, not force." Persuasion is where we convince somebody. We make them see our point of view. Okay, so let's talk about a recap. So the wind and sun were friends, but they were arguing over who was the strongest. Wind thought that he was the strongest or she was the strongest because she could blow really hard. But that only made the traveler want to hold on to his coat even tighter. Instead of going really hard, really fast like the wind, the sun just gently warmed up so that the traveler, would get warmer slowly and slowly. And then slowly over time, the sun won because the traveler became too warm and had to take off his coat. So the sun persuaded the traveler, convinced him to take off the coat slowly instead of Wind, who was trying to force the coat off of him with all of those big wind gusts. Okay, so now what I want you to do is take a minute and go back through, if you haven't already. Hopefully you were hitting pause while I was reading and writing down those 3 important details. If not, go ahead and hit pause. You can rewind and listen to the story again, but make sure that you give me 3 important details from the story in complete sentences, capital letter at the beginning, punctuation at the end. There's no right or wrong answer, my friends. I just want some sentence writing from you and some insight into what you thought was important. And we're going to talk about this later in the week. So make sure that you get me a picture of your journal writing today in Seesaw and of page 23. Those are the 2 things you need to turn in to me. Otherwise, we are all done. Thank you for your hard work, and I will see your adorable faces in our meetings later. Bye, friends.